Something talking about computer games and so on that I remembered last night. That was piracy, which is formally known as infringement of copyright infringement. Uh, yeah, I remember uh, quite the market for it back in the 80s. Um, video films on video tape, uh, computer games that were on cassette decks. There was quite the market for pirated materials, um, and it sort of taps in to the early internet before the World Wide Web and hypertext and all that sort of thing. Which are good things to look up if you don't know that stuff. The World Wide Web and hypertext. Um, uh, but on the internet, there was this culture of sharing. Um, the sharing resources, sharing information. A branch of the people who were dominant on the internet were academics and researchers who did, share their knowledge, um, as well as hobbyists and stuff like that. There was this culture of sharing intellectual goods, if you want to put it that way. And like in the 80s, that sort of uh, became part of the culture, as well as an edge to it around piracy of uh, what's it called? Commercial films and commercial, well, computer games, like the cassette-based games on the Spectrum and the ZX Spectrum and Commodore 64. Uh, and yeah, there was quite the market for it. And I remember this guy who worked a computer software shop. He just used to take the games home, and he had I had a tape to tape deck that ran at normal speed. He had one that went, I think, double the speed or something like that. So he used to knock these things out like crazy. And we'd go, me and other people would go to his house and, pay cut prices for, knockdown prices for the latest games. Amazing. But there was also this laissez-faire approach, not only with that, but with the area. I remember when I had what was called a CB radio. Now this was stuff used by lorry drivers. This was a form of communication used by lorry drivers, and they made a film of it that popularised it as. But it was all. I think it was already becoming popular. Um, and yeah, it had its own lexicon and so on and so forth, where they'd speak in abbreviated codes. They were driving, so they were, they wouldn't be able to do it these days. I wouldn't have thought. And yeah, I remember there was a CB, what was called a. I don't know. I should have looked up the term. There was a CB shop, and I'll look it up another time. There was a CB shop, uh, and I bought a device from there. It was a great looking device, and an aerial. And to set up the aerial, was going to set up the area in a way that would have breached regulations. And I was really concerned about this. And I rang the shop owner and I said, well, what do I do? How do I, adhere to the regulations? And he sort of said, well, your dad sometimes goes over the speed limit. Well, it's sort of the equivalent. And yeah, I think there was just a delay in getting the regulatory paperwork done or whatever. And yeah, but that was the sort of vibe in the air, the atmosphere, the approach in the area with quite a few people. I remember, I think it was in the 1970s, that because formal policing wasn't so prominent in the area, I think, and because it was partly a market town as well, that was a bit cut off in some ways. You used to get quite a few people boozing, getting quite, inebriated, and then driving home. But yeah, I remember one time seeing someone being pulled up for that. And yeah, that time came to an end. But yeah, that was sort of yeah, the approach with many people with at least some people in the area, and not only that, but the early internet. Well, like I said, the early internet, this culture of sharing. But there was also going to the mid-90s. Apparently, a company called Adobe, and I think the Microsoft company did this as well. They'd actually, again, have a pretty laissez-faire approach to people pirating their software. Because the theory was, as far as I recall, that the people who were pirating the software using pirated software would eventually, step up and get jobs where they would be able to afford the what was called the full product, the legitimate product. So yeah, as far as I remember, definitely Adobe. I read about. Not sure about Microsoft. But yeah, Adobe or Adobe or whatever it's called, and their big software was Photoshop, dating way back. I think it's still around. Yeah, they did used to just have a pretty easygoing attitude towards younger people pirating their software. So yeah, but yeah, I remember that guy. He used to pirate who worked at the computer shop, knocking off games like crazy. Yeah, quite funny when you think about it, looking back. But yeah, yeah. So I did look up a bit about that. Long etymology, an etymology to piracy, to the word term piracy for breaching copyright, going way back. And yeah, also looked up because when I was talking about print, saying you need a good grounding in print and so on and so forth, it's sort of oversimplified things and didn't take into account the qualities of electronic media, like the World Wide Web. And looked up, because initially I looked up about the proportion of people reading physical books these days. With the assumption that these were of greater breadth and depth, that the available information had greater depth. Clearly, the World Wide Web's got more. What most people call the internet these days has got more breadth in a more accessible sense. Then I thought, well, that's not strictly accurate. And again, my knowledge had been. I'd not really thought about the issue enough, and my easily accessible knowledge is in many ways dated, governments, education, electronic media itself has adapted over time to provide resources not just for things like critical thinking, but things like some sort of critical theory about their subjects, and the electronic media itself. Maybe harking back to print, the influences of print, and how print approach things in many respects, or in some respects, is you've got people who I'd have thought influenced that approach with electronic media and on electronic media. What else did I look up? I looked up some the early today's dominant companies, many companies that went by the wayside, started up as small-scale innovators and entrepreneurs and all that crap. Don't really like the term entrepreneur. I know it's less likely to happen now. I mean, the next big thing, I suppose, will be quantum computing. I mean, it's been talked about for as long as I can remember reading about tech, quantum computing. But I don't know. I've not heard of it getting anywhere really substantial yet. Let's have a look. Yeah, that's about it, really. Oh, I looked up something called Telnet, and I remember, could have been 1980, when I saw Telnet on a screen at some place. I just thought, what the hell's that? There was an air of intrigue and excitement that I had about it. That interest was pretty much there quite soon with me. Also looked up the term curriculum vitae, which is used in Britain and apparently most parts of the world, which means let's have a look. Translates apparently to course of life, more commonly used in occupational contexts. Don't know why, something to do. I looked up, I saw CV on the keyboard and just Yeah, but yeah. I also looked up things like you hear lots of stuff about filter bubbles and what is it? Uh, Echo chambers. Um, and then I thought, well, that sounds overstated and deterministic. And sure enough, apparently, those terms are. That's pretty much been my day, just sitting here mulling over these things. Uh, Quite interesting. Yeah, I didn't take to CB radio for long. Let's have a look. Uh, bum, bum. What did C? Bear with me. In the bear with me. Let's have a look. CB. Citizens Band Radio. That was it. Yeah. Really. Looking back, quite. I don't know, but it did seem a bit. It does now. Thinking back, seem quite immature, but that's what many people got into. I suppose they got a sense of what did people used to call it? Social bonding, male bonding. That's what I remember people calling stuff like that. And entertainment, a form of entertainment. That was sort of the opinion I had when I came across a sentence online that said that the World Wide Web had had not just a substantial influence, but a civilising one. Which I thought, well, hang on, it's primarily about entertainment, isn't it, and consumerism. But then, like, delving into it, but then I don't know the proportion of people who do not only use it for entertainment and enjoyment, other forms of enjoyment, but for discovery and the spirit of discovery and all that sort of thing that was so much of a thing when the World Wide Web with notions of this magical thing called hypertext was being talked about. But yeah, quantum computing. That's, to my mind, that's probably going to be the next big thing. But I probably won't be around when that finally gets here. It's been, like I said, for us long, going way back to maybe even the 80s. No, the 90s, I think it was, when I first started hearing about quantum computing. And like I said, I've never heard anything really getting anywhere at a popular consumer level for home computing. So yeah, it'll be way after my time that I'd have guessed that that'll emerge as a popular mass technology. Yeah, right. I had mackerel with a baked potato for lunch. Slept quite a lot, but I don't think the quality of it was very good. In fact, I'm pretty sure the quality of it wasn't very good. And yeah, I fancy pie, minced beef and onion pie tonight. I fancy a bit of that pastry. some gravy and all the trimmings and all that sort of thing. And at the time, just gone 7 p.m. in the UK. That's about your lot for today. Yeah. And now I'm just going to kick back and settle into the evening. It's probably, what is it? Let's have a look. What is it? 2 hours, 20 minutes to sunset. Don't know what sunrise is tomorrow. But the weather's crap. Not particularly fussed. At least it's a change. That's something that British people do sort of know, for the most part, that the weather conditions here are variable, and that does have, I think, positive impact on things like innovation and stuff like that. Innovation, invention, all that sort of thing. Maybe even entrepreneurship. What a term that is. I really don't like it. I suppose I associate it with all that. Well, a whole heap of crap. Yeah. Anyway, like I said, that's your lot.